Especially the G's.
For the ones who's underground.
You are now in the place to be. AM is who I be.
And 7, that'll be me.
Just when you thought you knew all about that,
We promise, you ain't never heard it this way.
we just hashtag what? Not that kind of day.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another fabulous episode of Not That Kind of Game, where we are bringing you episode 8 loud, and in charge. And let's not forget, this episode is called Allies and Friends. This is a 2-part segment, so this evening,
we promised you last episode
Boom.
that we had a puff down that was out of this world. So we hope that you have your soothies going
and your cocktails flowing, because this evening we are going to bring you one of our special guests that we have calling in from California, California, New York. Los Angeles, California.
We also have on the line our executive producer,
Miss Angeline.
And a panel discussion about what it is to be black, sexual, and spiritual in this world and times that we live in today. We are not going to spend too much time on this end, taking away from what happened during our medical conversation. We're going to get right into it. We hope you enjoy.
Boop, boop. Ladies and gentlemen, to another fabulous episode of Not That Kind of Game. We are bringing it to you loud, and in charge. And today's episode is going to be something so juicy where you are going to be interested in hearing what it's all about.
It is so much tea that we told you on last episode that we had to just move it on, just give you a part 2. It's so juicy. Like, we have something amazing plan for y'all today in an extended puff down version of our show. In the first show we talked about Nicole. Nicole is a entrepreneur, movie maker, radio personality,
everything. All the credentials Nicole has.
She'll give you your list.
Later on down the line.
But you guys just thank you for tuning in to episode 8, part 2 of season 2.
I'm not that kind of game. But you guys, I know y'all been missing us, but we had to take a little extended vacation due to
birthdays.
Because y'all know who birthday was? 7!
We talked about that in the last episode.
Okay, then we're going to talk about it again because it's my birthday.
So anyways, get your Suzies going.
And your cocktail flowing. Because we got an episode to bring to you tonight, and we hope that you enjoy it.
Can we be allies and friends?
Oh, it's a good day.
Hey. I guess so we can do brief introductions if you like.
Okay.
So I'm Al, AM, I go by on this guys podcast that we have. I'm from Atlanta, went to school here in DC. I now live in New York, where I am an administrator for a charter school. Love the kids, right? But I'm also an LGBTQ activist. I believe that our voices, even though they're now starting to be kind of mainstream, deserve to be heard from our perspective, deserve more than the labels that we kind of get thrown into. So that's what this podcast is kind of was started about with 7. I was going to introduce yourself.
How you doing, Nicole? I'm 7. I also work with the school system as well. I have a passion and a drive for students, especially the alternative ones. They touch my heart so deeply, but I'm not going to give you a spill of that. But I also, like I said, I also work in the school system, and the reason that I'm sitting here on this platform is just to expose the regular gay, whatever you want to call it, type of people. I mean, I just feel like all of us have a place here, and we all should be able to just all get along and just be right.
Which is why it's good that you are here, because that's the same thing I guess you celebrate as well. But before we get into that, we also have our producer,
You are silly. Hello, Angel. I know we've talked briefly. I guess, not dragged into this journey, but I was asked by AM. He and I went to high school together in Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to the Great Knights. I live in Indy. I work, my day job is banking, but my little side hustles are not that kind of gay. I also in the process of publishing some kids' books. The first one hopefully should be out in December. If everything goes right. So yeah, I've always been passionate about the LGBTQIA, ABCDEFG. I want to say, really, since high school, I didn't have that much exposure until I got around AM and all of our friends and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm just here fighting the good fight as Ella. So my turn?
Yes, Nicole.
I'm Nicole. Nice to meet you all. I am an actress and filmmaker currently living in Los Angeles. I'm from Alexandria, Louisiana. Lived in New Orleans for 12 years before moving out here to LA 3 years ago. I was a media personality for 8 years on New Orleans' #1 radio station, Q93. I also worked for the New Orleans Hornets/Pelicans for 5 seasons. It was 5, 6 seasons. Yeah. And so now I'm out here creating films, creating content to get people talking to me and talking to each other and amongst each other. I like touching on taboo subjects and causing a ruckus, as I've told someone earlier. But for a cause, I cause a ruckus for a cause, for a reason. Things that I feel like we need to think about, shed light on. So yeah, that's why I'm a mother of an actress. My daughter Aiden is also an actress. And we out here.
How old is Aiden?
how old is Aiden?
Aiden is 8.
Aww.
Yeah, she's 8 years old.
Alright, so then that gets us right into why we felt like it would be a good collaboration to have you on today. As an ally and as a person who knows about talking about taboo subjects, we often feel like we put in that box, like we're told to go over here and exist, go and take your sexuality and exist over there. Do it outside of this space. Do it, but just don't do it here. And that's kind of what your film, when we watched it, kind of spoke to us, like, wow, especially the twist at the end, we really weren't even expecting that to happen, based off of what, the film had been about. So I guess I'll let you introduce the content and then kind of get in a conversation about it then.
Okay, so my film is called Guilty. It's about a woman who, I'm gonna just go for it. I can edit it out if I get too extreme.
Perfect, because we actually had a chance to watch it, and it is amazing. You got me hooked.
One thing I did not say is I also substitute teach to supplement income. So when it comes to the kids, I didn't know if none of y'all students follow anything like this. So I was just trying to be mindful.
Well, they don't follow us. So no, you were fine.
So it's about a woman who can't have an orgasm because white Jesus is haunting her. And it's about religious guilt, being sexually free, women's sexuality, because everybody likes to tell women what to do with their body, and what their body was meant for. So that's the premise of the movie. And it shows the psychological effects of religion on someone's psyche growing up over and over and over, hearing this is a sin, I'm going to hell, Jesus is watching you, and kind of like how that infiltrates the mind and how it manifests in adulthood. You're trying to do things, grown up things, have fun, So yeah, that's what it is.
Yes, that idea that things have to be taboo, and especially in our communities where we come from, where we're often told to exist, like I said, outside of you can do that, but do it over there. Don't tell nobody, or don't talk about it. Like, why is it that I was just telling Seven earlier that white Jesus is responsible for all of the major wars in the world. Like, he is legit the reason why we can't get along. Just let us be.
The crazy thing is he's supposed to be like this people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if we could have a talk with white Jesus right now, he'd probably be highly disappointed, because you're right. It's like, all the wars in the name of white Jesus.
So Nicole, since you spoke on the topic of women doing what they allowing women to do what they want to do to their bodies, we're actually doing something in our segment today in regards to the abortion act that they passed in Georgia. Was it Georgia? Yeah, in Georgia. Yeah. What is your thoughts on that?
We were just strike down actually, so I guess a Supreme Court justice ruled against it. But you can't police people's bodies and expect to get away with it, even on the legislation level. I think that sucks that men continue to think we can control anything in the first place.
Right.
So my thought is I don't have a clear-cut answer to that, simply because, I mean, the clear-cut answer is your body is your body. I can't tell you what to do. I can't make those decisions for you. And honestly, it wasn't until I thought I needed an abortion that I was for abortion. And that probably set me up. But before then, you know, I was just like, I don't think it's right. And then it was like, oh shit, I might need an abortion. Like, do you think it's right? It's like, it might not be, but if this is what it is, this is what it's gonna happen. So I need to be able to make that, you know, that's on me. Alright, you know. And so when that time came, that's when my eyes were open, and it was like, okay, you know what, it might not be right. But to me, it felt better than to bring something into this world. I can take care of it. To bring something into the, you know what I'm saying? Everything else was better than to having this child. So it was like, okay, well, this is a decision I would have to make. You know, it came down to me not needing to, because I wasn't pregnant. But it wasn't until that moment where I was just convinced that I was, and like looking at all my options, that I was just like, you know, whether it's, no matter how we feel about, you know, the fetus and the state of life, you know, I should be able to make that decision. And, you know, and then of course you look into all the reasons behind why abortion is made. You know, there's so many different levels to all of it. You know, the main thing for me is, as a woman, let me make this decision. You don't tell me that you care about me actually having this child when you don't care about having people that's already on this earth. So, you know what I'm saying? So let's do this shit, right? And, you know, you don't care about the morality of it. You care about the morality of it, and it would be so much better for the people who are already alive. So all the reasons people give is, to me, it's just bullshit. So, you know, if it's simply that you believe that life begins at the moment of conception, then okay, I feel you, but at the same time, that's on me. The life is not present on this earth yet.
That brings to question, is there, and I think this is synonymous with what your film was about, is there some kind of duality that exists between being religious and having or possessing your sexual self? Like, can they coexist?
Yeah, I definitely think they can coexist. You know, honestly, we are sexual beings. That's just naturally who we are. That's, you know, and this might be taking it too far, but I ask y'all, do you remember how old you were when you first realized that you had an attraction to another person in a way that wasn't just a friend?
I do, and it was very early on, and people try to argue me down off of that all of the time. But I tell you, right here today, as we stand, I knew very early on.
And that's a little different than being able to know that your parts can be pleasurable, right? But that's also, you know, that early on too. It's a part of our makeup. And so to deny us that part, that's what's wrong to me. Like, to say, like, you can't explore that part, or that part is not to be touched, or that part is not to be mentioned, or whatever. Like, why not? How do you decide that this part gets to be talked about and mentioned and explored, but this part doesn't? You know, and so I think it's all about balance. I do personally believe in energy and sharing energy and spirits. So like, I'm from Louisiana, but I do believe in energy sharing and spirit sharing and all that. So of course, with anything, you got to be responsible, but and realize, you know, what you're doing and the exchanges that you're having with your body. But that doesn't mean it can't be pleasurable. Whatever exchanges you are having, you should be able to enjoy it, right? So, you know, I'm not saying to go out here and ravage just humping everything, because the energy exchange, all of it is for sure. But I would like to see a world where women can freely say, hey, I'm a sexual being and it's okay.
Let me ask you a question.
It's okay.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that freedom is extended to trans women? And how early do you think they're allowed to become their sexual selves? Are they able to explore that as kids? Should we give them the space to be like, is it a us thing or is it a them thing? Like, we had a view on earlier during our pop down session we had live earlier, and he brought up this interesting question about what's too early for a transition. Do you have any perspective on that, baby?
That's so great. I'm actually working on a project about this right now. Too early to transition. Here's my personal thoughts, right? My personal thoughts on that is, you know, and again, I think we're all in a space where we're all learning, open to learning more, and I'm having conversation with people, and my main thing is respecting another person. It's all about respecting someone else. And if you tell me that you're a trans woman or a trans male, I'm going to respect that. That's who you are. That's who you identify as. And that's what I'm, you know. With that being said, I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to properly, the lingo, I'm still learning. So it's like, you know, I'm always like, correct me before you condemn me. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, and I get it. Everybody's not from a place of understanding love, and so when they talk, it's very condescending. It's very like matter of fact. I get it. I get where it's coming from. Everybody's like that. But people have to say. I personally feel like when it comes to childhood, give kids the freedom to be whoever they want to be without saying you have to be a girl or you have to be a girl. I personally believe in that. I believe each child should have the freedom to just do and be without saying, this is for boys, this is for girls. Girls do this, boys do that. I hate, one of the main things I dislike is for someone to tell my daughter that she can't do something because she's a girl, or that she needs to do something. And it's as simple as, I hate to see anybody with their legs spread open, especially men, because y'all in the back of the room, you should leave your legs all open and hang out in the room. That makes me upset. And so, but like anybody with their legs open, I'd be like, close your legs, right? But if my daughter's legs are open and you tell her to close her legs because she's a lady, I would be like, no. We're not gonna do that. Because now you're putting in their head that girls have to be this way, girls have to be this. So I'm a firm believer in, at a young age like that, if we're going to direct them, let's direct all of them for everything, not because they're a boy, but because they're a girl. Understanding that they have parts and that these parts aren't definitive of who they are. I think that that's a big thing too. In the past, in my family, there's been sexual molestations that have happened. I'm just, I was just saying it, not necessarily with me, but just with other people. And so I'm thankful that my mom raised me knowing, like, okay, this is your body, and these are the parts of your body. It's called a vagina. That's called a penis. It's not called a tootie in the heart or whatever. Like, this is, functioning. But because you have this, doesn't make you any lesser or better or whatever. Like, and I think setting that foundation with childhood is important than saying, okay, because I know the whole thing with Mario Lopez came out, right? And they were saying about like, and I need to look more into that, because I don't think what's happening here, like with Charlie staring at all these people, they're just allowing their kids to dress freely, but they're not like forcing the kids to take hormones, right?
You're allowing the kids to.
Correct. They're just allowing them to dress freely, right?
Right. They're just allowing them to explore. There's nothing that's been like claimed. They're not entrenched.
And nobody's taking hormones. Nobody's doing that. They're just allowed to be, right? I don't have an issue with that. That's what I think should be. Allow them to be. You know what I'm saying? If they choose to wear some Jordans and some
And a tutu. Oh, I know all about those.
Huh?
I know all about those.
I don't know what boys wear, you know, but like if they choose to wear the polos or whatever, or if they choose to wear a skirt and a sparkly top, I don't care. Let them. Some days my daughter walk around here looking like, you know, a little boy, but whatever. Whatever she want to wear. I'm not about to be like, you gotta wear this, because I'll be like, don't be cute. Like, don't look like you're homeless. Like, okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean you put on, you know, whatever. She don't like bows, and my mom would be like, you need bows in here. No, she don't. Why? She don't need that. Like, so I don't have an issue with that. I do feel that when it does come down to taking hormones and stuff like that, I just because it's with any alteration, lifelong alteration to your body, I feel like you should just be at an age where you're mature enough to really know what you really want. And honestly, our maturity levels varies and it ranges from, you know, some people might even say 13. I don't know, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't really know what a psychologist would say, but I would assume it might be like 15 to 25, and that, I don't know, you know, everybody's maturity level differs. And the point to where they can make these types of decisions, I'm sure, would differ too. Let me stop talking about psychologists like that. But basically, what I'm trying to say here in this scenario is when it does come down to any life, any body-altering decisions, whether it be plastic surgery, and that doesn't even have to be from gender to gender. That could just be, you know, breast implants. That could be butt implants, nose job, whatever. I remember I was in high school, we had one with a nose job, just because she didn't like her nose. And it was just like, you like portraits. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait, just wait. You might grow into your faces and you're like, done. You know, like, just wait. So, just understand. I think it's just being at an age, when it comes down to that, just being at an age to understand, like, what you're doing.
Well, you know, there still is the potential to grow up with some kind of resentment. You know, if
that you changed.
That you didn't change. That if you say, with this perspective that you just gave, and you say, you know, just allow yourself some time to come into that, and then this person does then go up and become a transsexual, I guess you would say. There's a potential that there's some resentment there towards the parents for not letting them explore this earlier. So,
right, I've heard that too. Especially male to female, because I guess like around the 12-year-old age, that's when those male hormones really kick in, right? And puberty. If you could catch it at that time, then they can really grow into. I've heard that too. I'm still on the fence about that. Just because I think it's so early to make any body-altering decision. But then again, you know, if you know, you know, and that's the point where I'm like, all right, I'm still trying to understand, because I can be honest and say I can support you and still say I don't understand, right? And I think a lot of us are afraid to say, okay, I don't understand too. Because they're afraid of backlash. They're afraid of, you don't understand, you don't support. No, I ain't saying support, I say I don't understand. And I also think that some people are afraid to support because they don't understand. Because it's like, well, if I'm going to support something I don't understand, that means I can support anything. And that's not necessarily true either. We have intelligence, we have free will. We know what's gonna cause harm and what's not gonna cause harm.
So, just to piggyback off of what you're saying, how does everything that you say, how is it, I guess, more heightened or more sensitive or more tabooish in the African American community? Because we have those ideas of what trans and what even, you know, your film sexuality, things like that, female sexuality. How does that provide more of a stigma in the African American community? So when you did your film, you know, doing your research sexually, how is that more of a stigma in the African American community compared to everyone else?
Are you talking about religious guilt and female sexuality, or are you talking about trans?
Well, you know, like to just relate it back to your, like your topic, your movie, what you did, like with the research. How much of a taboo is it for African American women to express their sexuality in regards to religion versus other communities? Is it worse? Is it kind of the same? Like, did you find any differences at all?
Oh, of course. I feel like, especially with Black people, we're very, especially church going, Black families as a whole are usually rooted in the church. And there's usually a man at the helm of this trying to tell us what to do and what we have to do. I think we are so rooted and scared. Honestly, you could say it dates back to slavery. We're so afraid to disappoint this higher power. We're so afraid to challenge and push the envelope and question what's right or wrong. And why is that considered right? Why is that considered wrong? You know, we use tactics like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not against weapons to a certain extent. But we use those types of tactics to get our points across sometimes. You know, and it's like, I find that with women especially, Black women especially, we're always trying to create this nuclear family model, right? And in this nuclear family model, there's a mommy, there's a daddy, and there's the kids. And the daddy does this, the mommy does that. The mommy is just the one that has her place. Her place is here, 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 and to make the kids, and to support the man. The man's place is here, 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 support the family. And he's also given the space to be a man and do manly things.
That's what we do.
Right? It takes away from the idea that we too have urges to be free with what we have. You know, it's like, oh, well, he's a man. Men do that. Men have sexual urges and do that. So I don't. That's like a thing that we tell each other. You know, we say that, oh, a man is going to be a man. That's said, when I remember white people say that, that's said when black people all the time, he's just a man. Man. Okay, I'm a woman. Like, what does that mean? Like, correct. And I, you know, I know that shit. Like, and when that shit work right. Hey, not everybody know how to work it. That's why I learned how to work the shit myself. Right. Make sure that, you know, when the time comes, that I'm gonna always get mad. So why these men out here being men, they need to learn.
Okay. Hey man, on this side too. Okay.
But I think with us, we're just the construct of what is family, the roles that family plays, and where that goes back to. I think that has a lot to do with it also, besides of not disappointing this higher being that's always been in control of us, right? Or not always, but for 400 whatever years, been in control of us. And we're so worried about being seen and how we're being seen. And And I think that has a lot to do with it too. It's crazy because promoting my film, I sent it to somebody to watch. Like I sent it to you guys. And I had a black woman, I had like 2 black women, one especially stood out. And she was like, I would not watch this. She said, I would not watch this film and this goes against my beliefs. She hadn't even watched it yet. I just gave her the same log line I gave y'all. A woman wants to have an orgasm, she can't just watch this. She was just like, this is blasphemous and it goes against my belief as a woman and we should not be putting stuff out there like this. And I was just like, I basically was just like, okay, I respect that. Can you please argue? I just really want to know, let me know what it is about it that is blasphemous and that we should not be putting out there. And she was just like, she was cool. I mean, she was cool in the fact that she responded. Basically, she was just saying that as women, we have a place, and our place is not to be out here wilding, and our place is not to be out here. Like, basically, people talk about anything nowadays, and there's nothing that we keep to ourselves anymore. Sexuality is something we should keep to ourselves, and that Jesus wants us to be pure and clean. And being pure and clean is not talking about our sexual escapades and our sexual desires. So that's basically in a nutshell what she said. Now I got to really look from the school.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah. So right. So they just let you know there that like we're expected to be one type of way. And if you go on my Instagram, that's the one thing, I hate being in a box. I actually hate being in a box. I feel like one day I want to take a naked picture of my ass and put it on Instagram, and the next one I want to mentor the kids, and we gotta accept it. Because you know what I'm saying? Like, stop trying to make me run away. Stop trying to tell me that I gotta choose and I can only do this or that. That's you. You're projecting things on me. Don't do that to me. I don't like that. But answering your question, but I don't know all of them.
Look, listen, this is good because we had a chance to watch your series, The Young Woman's Guide, and to get into some of that knowledge, some of that wisdom from the elders, who just have this boundless amount of energy and wisdom about how you should be and what you should do, and talking about some of the very things you're talking about now, like our body image and how we care about ourselves and how we perceive ourselves and how that's projected upon everybody else. So that exists. I'm sure, I know for a fact for black women, I watch it in my mom, I watch it in my best friend on the phone with us, I watch it, but over here we deal with it too, some of us anyway. We go to church and it feels like the pastor's pointing directly at you when he's talking about, what homosexuals should do and what they shouldn't do and how they come in here and do this, and you feel like they're talking directly at you.
I don't go to church. When you talk about going to church,
you would be surprised. And then what's crazier is that half of them are the musicians. They're behind the altar in the first place. They're secreted down low, and will still point the finger you can't do this and you shouldn't be this way.
So crazy. I'm sorry. Why do y'all think that is?
I mean, it's all about conforming. So if you see AM just referenced in the church, you also have those same people that are making these laws who are publicly against abortions, but they got some side chick
right
that get some abortions. So
or touching people's feet under the bathroom. Touching people's feet in the bathroom stalls, meeting the nights in alleys and whatnot, or being caught with the meth brothel in the crazy stuff goes on when people try and hide who they are and they can't live in their authentic selves. They find ways of expressing it through these little slithers of life. And it ends up being way more bigger than it should have been in the first place. Had they just been truthful and honest with who they are.
Oh, you better say it, Pastor.
Nicole, so what caused you, or what drove you to do your short film about the orgasm and female sexuality and tying religion into it? Like, what got you passionate about everything?
So I grew up Catholic. I grew up a black Catholic in Louisiana, which is a little different than Catholic, because the black Catholic, they put a lot of emphasis on being black.
Yes.
So definitely not at all upset about being raised black Catholic. I actually attribute a lot of who I was to that. It was a great experience. But still, Catholicism and church, and I'm also thankful growing up Catholic, because we only spent an hour in church. We weren't in church all day. And it was real structural, you know what I'm saying? The preacher didn't really talk about it. That's what I'm saying. Even still, they didn't talk about homosexuality. Super structural in the Catholic church. There was also limits to those too, as we know. But they would try to tell you, especially in Catholic school and in PCD class, sex before marriage is a sin. Sex outside of procreation is a sin. So any type of sexual pleasure is a sin. Sex was made for having babies. That's what we're taught in the Catholic Church. And growing up, I became part of the abstinence club when I was in high school. They used to have donuts. Danny Kuzma, but they used to have donuts. We had cheer practice. We had like 1 year of cheer practice was like at 6 in the morning. And so I would get to school at 6 and we'd be done by 7:30. And then school would start till 8. And so I'd be hungry and they'd have like these donuts and stuff, and I was going. And then the abstinence club kept going like out of town and stuff. So I wanted to be part of the club. And then I actually got in the club, and then I became president of the abstinence club. And I made this vow to Jesus that I wasn't going to have sex until marriage. And so, as Catholics, we have confessions too. So when I would go to confession, I would say like little stuff. I cheated on a test. And little stuff. I would never say like the real stuff. Because that was always it always felt like crazy to me. Like, why am I telling this man all this? Like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't want to do this. I used to try to avoid confession as much as possible because, like, even though they have the partitions where he can't see me, I still feel like he knew it was me. And, like, voice recognition is a mother. So, like, I'm telling this man that I gotta, like, see all the time at church and, like all my dirty secrets. Like, it's just so messy to me. Like, if you want all, go be a priest. Like, come on, they tough. It just never felt right. Like, it just always felt like I was just always being watched. Besides, and my grandmother had this picture of the white Jesus. The face was turned to the side. He was looking like this. He had like the heart.
Yes, I've seen that picture. Yes, I have. Yes, I have seen that picture. Yes.
All bad. It looked like he pulled me with his eye.
Yes. Yes.
She had that picture. And ever since I was little, it just felt like Jesus was always looking at me. And like, it's just always, it was like my life, I was always in this microscope, right? And then I became president of this abstinence club, made this vow, and I passed sex for marriage, right? So, and since I went to Catholic school, the vow was actually to God, to Jesus, and not just like a random vow. And so, when I decided to become sexually active, I found it I had sex, so that was hard. But mentally in there, it's just like, oh my goodness, God's gonna be mad at me now, Jesus is gonna be mad at me now. Now granted, I was able to easily get out of it, but then in talking to other people, they also had the same experiences, like the same thing of guilt. And so I just decided to create a world where there's a person who had a hard time really getting out of this, and like the way it's painted, almost like Jesus is the boogeyman. Like this boogeyman person is always haunting you and coming after you, and just so that's where it came from. My own personal experiences for other people around me.
That is good stuff. We are on the tail end of our conversation. It's been like amazing getting deep into all of this with you. I hope that you have enjoyed us today. We definitely have enjoyed
I did. I hope I didn't talk too much.
No, you did. That's what we needed. Like, you were perfect. Like, oh my God. That was amazing.
Yo, one of the things I used to hate when I worked in radio is when I would interview people and they would like give me one-word answers or like three-word sentences.
Okay. Like, what am I going to do with that?
I feel like I got an overcompensate now. They're like, girl, you don't be quiet. In my head, I'm like, Tosha.
Yeah, you did. This was great. We had a good conversation. I hope that we inspire folks out there to continue to have these conversations around owning our own sexual selves. We can be who we want to be. It's okay to be ignorant. It's not okay to remain ignorant. So, you know, we want to be constantly trying to educate people about these taboo subjects that as the Black community, we sweep away under the rugs. We want to give another shout out to Magnolia A Productions. We want everybody to check out the film Guilty, which you can find on YouTube.
You guys
also share.
If Guilty is not in the movie theaters like January 20th.
I'm working on a series.
I'm like, oh, a series, perfect.
Series.
Yes, that's her.
I need her to get this orgasm. We left at the end like,
I'm like, I need more.
So
wait till series.
we want everybody to go and check that out. We will provide the information so that you can get a link to see it directly on a computer screen near you. Thank you so much, Nicole, for joining us today. Thank you, Angel Lee, for sitting in.
And we greatly appreciate it so much. And Nicole, you are now the friend in my head. So we will be in contact with you. And we wish you.
The next time we're in LA, we're doing this in person.
Oh yeah, no, for real. Contact me. Look, I'm just crash on everything. I'll do it. I'm
Look,
good.
don't tell them that.
Don't tell me that because you know.
Now, but after December, I'll be back in my spot. And no, for real. Like, I'm the crash spot.
Perfect.
As long as you're cool. But I know you cool.
We cool and we coming along with the money.
Bring some wine.
And wine. I Nicole, we appreciate you. We'll be in contact with you. Thank you so much.
Hey, y'all. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was amazing, but it's time for us to wrap this up. Listen, Nicole was amazing.
Nicole was the bomb.
Angel Lee was amazing.
Angel Lee was
We
unique.
had a good conversation about some pertinent issues that affect both all of our communities as Black people, as queer people, as Black women. It's crazy that the intersectionality of what we feel as oppressed sexual beings, right, and how it happens on both the spectrum for Black females and Black gay males. Mm-hmm. But we had an amazing conversation about being allies and friends.
Oh, it's a good thing. Hey. Tell me again.
Oh, baby, show you right. Oh,
are you my ally or friend?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good day.
Yo, it's been real.
I also just want to say thank you again to Miss Nicole, and you can find her website at
We'll list all the information
information
here, and you can find links.
Talented talent. I totally appreciate the talent. Great.
Boom, good person. You guys, you can check us out on YouTube as usual. Each episode is posted there.
And where they can check us out at?
Not That Kind of Gay.
And what's that?
You can get us on Facebook also at Not That Kind of Gay.
Ooh.
You can get us on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter at Not That Kind of G1. You can get us on all major platforms for podcasts out there in an AirPod near you. You can also check me out on SoundCloud. I mean, it won't hurt to do a little shameless plug here. You know, I do my beats or whatever. And that's AM to PM. But yes, guys, thank you.
Again, we love you all for watching. We hope you tune into the next part of this segment that we have for you guys.
No. Our next episode.
Our next episode. I apologize. Our next episode that we have coming to you guys. Stay tuned. We love you here. Not that kind of game. And guess what?
Oh, you know what, Seven? It's our Halloween episode that they want to see.
Oh, preparation for Halloween. So the next episode will be airing around Halloween sometime towards the end of the month. Can't promise you a date because our costumes have not been
put together yet. But we ain't gonna get into it, and y'all gonna see something loud in charge.
Again, we love you for watching here. Not the kind of game. Peace.